Hello everybody and welcome back to the Theatre Shed Script Workshop. Today we're going to be working on The Dumping Ground, a CBBC TV series. Now we're going to look at Season 5, Episode 13, which is called Choose Your Own Adventure, and it was written by Owen Lloyd-Fox. In this particular scene that we're going to look at, we're going to focus on the character of Floss, but I wanted to go over a synopsis of The Dumping Ground, what it is, what's it all about. So, this is a spin-off from the British hit TV series The Story of Tracy Beaker, based on the best-selling novel by Jacqueline Wilson. So Jacqueline Wilson is a very famous author that writes books for young people about young people, and she's particularly good at writing about issues faced by our vulnerable young people that perhaps come from a disadvantaged background or face challenges in their lives. And this has spurred on many TV series to be made. So this particular one is set in Ashdean Ridge, which is called The Dumping Ground. It's a foster home. So it's set in a children's home known as The Dumping Ground. The children face many fun adventures together as they grow up in a foster care. Nevertheless, this is a fab, fun-filled show packed with lots of great adventures. So we get a real sense that there is a really positive feeling associated with this programme, although we're obviously going to be exploring some topics that might be challenging. So it's important to bear those things in mind. Also to think about CBBC. Okay, so let's think about the audience this is about, who's going to be targeted by this particular production and how we want to make them feel, because that is going to make us make some very important artistic choices in how we perform. So we're going to focus on Floss Guppy, so this particular character. Just like last week though, although this character is female, you don't have to make the character female if you don't want to. So we're going to focus more on Floss's characteristics, and then you can create your own version of her or this character out of that. So let's have a little read about her. Floss is one of the younger residents. She's only 9 in Ashdean Ridge. However, that doesn't mean she's the nicest. Floss gets herself into trouble a lot and is very capable of blackmailing other kids despite appearing sweet and cute. She also has a temper like fire, which doesn't help when you're not the most likeable in the house. Floss sees herself as a leader, often pulling rank over the adults at Ashdean. She doesn't like being told what to do or being looked after, and can be quite defensive at times, although there is a playful side to her, which we're going to see in the scene that we're going to look at. I've put a picture here as well of Ashdean Ridge so you can see what it looks like. So it's this wonderful big house. We can see lots of bright colours outside, but when we go inside, there is obviously, this is the life of some young people. This is their home, although to some of them it can be quite a new and unfamiliar space. So please open up your scripts. We're going to look at scene 4. So first of all, we find our 4 here. That means that's the start of the scene, so it might exist anywhere on this page. You'll see another number here, look. That is the actual page number. So bottom right hand corner will have the page number, but on the either side, mid-page, top of the page, wherever, this tells us what our scene is. Do you remember what this means? Because we had a look at this last time. So INT means interior. You could also see an EXT, which is exterior. This here tells us we're in the Dumping Ground kitchen. So DG is the code that they use for Dumping Ground. It's day 24. So this is going to link us to where we're at in the actual series. And they've given a very specific time of day. You don't always get that. So we know it's in the morning. So here, in capital letters, we have all the characters that are in this scene. So you could get some other people to read this with you if you want to. Again, you could just read for Floss, and if I'm going to leave the Floss lines out after I've read it through the first time. So the YP means young people. The young people reluctantly put their devices into a cardboard box. When it's her turn, Floss hesitates. But I was about to evolve my Fairy King. I had maxed out XP. I literally have no idea what you just said. Fablescape. It's my life. No, It's a computer game. Life is for living, for having new experiences, adventures. The young people look unimpressed. Sounds boring. That stuff is boring, and it's making you boring. I am not boring. The new mural was finished days ago, and none of you have been out there to see it. There was no need. Finn sent us a picture. Candy Rose presents the picture of a mural on her phone to Mike, who shakes his head in dismay and tosses the phone into the box. When I was your age, we made our own fun. Honestly, you lot wouldn't last 5 minutes. Well, yeah, because when you were a kid, there was like man-eating dinosaurs. Mike smiles sarcastically. Funny. No, you're wrong. We don't need tech to have fun. Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. I ruled at Fablescape, but I can also rule at being, what's the word? Analog? Yeah, that. We all can. Well, great. Now's your chance to prove it. He heads off. The others turn to Floss. Well, go on then. On Floss. Lovely. So that brings us to the end of that scene. So we're focusing on Floss because she has quite a journey throughout this. First of all, she's defensive because she doesn't want to give up all of her things. Then she decides that no, there's a bit of a competition here because Mike has challenged her, saying that you're not going to last 5 minutes. So she wants to prove that she can do it, and she builds up a bit of courage and maybe gets a bit too big for her boots because perhaps she hasn't done this before. So let's go back to our character brief and just remind ourselves what elements we want to bring to our character of Floss Guppy. So she is one of the younger residents, but it doesn't mean she's the nicest, and that's something really important to think about. Why isn't she nice? Why doesn't she come across nice? Maybe she appears to not be a nice person, but deep inside she is. You can make that choice. So come up with a bit of a backstory about Floss and why she behaves the way she does. She's very capable of blackmailing other kids despite appearing sweet and cute. So she's very clever, that tells us. She's clever. She knows how to work it to get what she wants. She also has a temper like fire, which doesn't help when you're not the most likeable person in the house. She's a leader, which we definitely see in this scene. She doesn't like being told what to do, or perhaps what she can't do, which we see in the scene as well. And she can be quite defensive. So there's lots of really fun things here to bring into that character. We're going to read through it again. I'm going to leave the Floss lines blank for you to fill in. And then we're going to discuss what your task is for the next session. So bringing all those elements in, let's just have one more look at Ashdean Ridge. That's what it looks like. That's where we are. Keep that in your minds. And we're going to go from the top. So, interior dumping ground kitchen day, 24, 9:38. The young people reluctantly put their devices into a cardboard box. When it's her turn, Floss hesitates. I literally have no idea what you just said. No, it's a computer game. Life is for living, for having experiences, adventures. Sounds boring. That stuff is boring, and it's making you boring. The new mural was finished days ago, and none of you have been out there to see it. Well, there was no need. Finn sent us a picture. Candy Rose presents the picture of the mural on her phone to Mike. He shakes his head in dismay and tosses the phone into the box. When I was your age, we made our own fun. Honestly, you lot wouldn't last 5 minutes. Well, yeah, because when you were a kid, there was like man-eating dinosaurs. Mike smiles sarcastically. Funny. Yeah? Yeah? Analog? Great. Now's your chance to prove it. He heads off. The others turn to Floss. Well, go on then. On Floss. Lovely. Fantastic. Okay, so for next week, what I would like you to do is create a mood board of this character. Okay, what does Floss look like? What's your version of Floss? What might have happened to make her personality the way that it is? Okay, so maybe you could think about friendship groups. Think about the fact she's the youngest as well. What has she got to prove from being the youngest in the house? And also, what's Fairyscape? What does it look like? Maybe you could come up with that so you can really visualise what it is she's so obsessed about and what she doesn't want to let go of. Fantastic. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I will see you next week for part 2. Bye, guys.